On this month's episode, I'm planning a wedding and surviving the roller coaster of being an Arsenal fan.
Joshua became a year older and we had a lively trip to Cornwall.
And we took our Love It or Leave It game replaced, mixtape, and all kinds of other stuff.
Yes, including my chunks of simulation games. And I redeveloped the entire Reading bus network and also set up a prison brasserie. So loads of stuff to talk about on this month's edition of Aches and Games.
Hi folks, and welcome to June's Aches and Games, a relaxed monthly check-in between two slightly older British friends talking life, gaming, and whatever else comes to mind. We hope you'll stay with us over the next hour or so, or you can use the timestamps in the description to jump to your section of choice, just the games or whatever you're after. And remember, keep letting us know what your thoughts are, comments, recommendations. You can do that on our socials, our Facebook page, or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson, Giles Wentwest on most things. Joining me, as always, is my good friend James Hapes. Hi James, how are you?
Good evening, Giles. Very well, thank you for asking. It occurred to me, weirdly, when you said June's Aches and Games, I thought, oh, who's June? And I realised it's the month of June. And weirdly, April, May and June are all girls' names. Fascinating part of the calendar. But the rest of the month, really, aren't they? There's no other month that is a girl's name, really. How many girls called December or January? Oh, January, there is January.
January, yeah, January Jones.
Ignore that. Anyway, yeah, glad to be here. We've got loads of things to talk about tonight, haven't we? So that will be good. Lots of games, lots of things we've done, but we're sticking to 67 minutes exactly. So look forward to seeing you for the next 67 minutes. Good. Let's go.
I believe that's what they call a rod for our own back. So I'm sure people will hold us to that. So let's keep it snappy and jump into what have you been up to this month, James?
Yeah, things and stuff as always. It's been May. And in May, you have half terms, and you also have some hot weather, bizarrely, in the UK. Obviously, for those of us in the UK, like ourselves, we had summer, didn't we? We had the 5 days of summer, which is now complete. So that's all done for another year, which is nice. Yep. And it had some baking temperatures. We got up to like 35 in certain parts of the country, including our hometown of Reading. But we escaped it and went to the coast for half term. So we went to Cornwall, in the top right part of Cornwall. Some would say the northeast, but I prefer to say the top right. So right on the border, it's kind of northeast. Good. Never reached Reading Week. Yeah, naughty elephant squirt water. So we stayed kind of near a place called Saltash, which in itself is a little bit of a dive, but it serves some nice food. We went to a Chinese restaurant there, an all-you-can-eat buffet, very nice. Went to another restaurant, very good. But we used it to explore that little part of Cornwall we've not been to for a while. So we went down to Looe, and Looe's very pleasant, has some nice buildings. It also has a car park, which is very, very far away from the beach. And if you're dragging around your mildly disabled mother, it's a long way to drag.
Is that the one up the river? There's a massive inlet, isn't there? And then quite a long way from it.
Yeah, well, we couldn't get parked in the one near the beach, so we parked on the other side of the bridge. So I had to drop my mum and Joshua off, and then me and Sarah went to the other side of the bridge, walked down. And then we thought it was going to be a little stroll to the beach, and it turned out to be like miles and miles of walking to the beach. So my mum, if she wasn't crippled before we started the walk, she was definitely there at the end. But interestingly, you can drive along to the front through the streets that look like they should be pedestrianised, but in fact aren't pedestrianised. So as long as you go at like 2 miles an hour and don't mind people jumping on your bonnet and waving at you and jumping out of the way dramatically, then it's fine. So on the way back, being she couldn't walk at all anymore after that one, after sitting on the steps of the beach, we then went to the seafront in the car, picked her up. Killed a few people. It was like Carmageddon. Remember Carmageddon in the old days?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, we just ploughed people out of the way. Game related. That's my little bit. So that's fine. But it meant she couldn't walk much for the rest of the week, so everywhere we went to, we had to drive and big part very close to the place. So that was a shame. But the weather was nice. We had a hot tub, which wasn't really required because every body of water was equally hot, so didn't really need a bubbling hot tub in the hot weather. But Josh had a good time. We saw some nice sights. We went to an animal play park place. It was very good. Went to another place, which was also very good. And luckily we went to Looe and some other places, which were all very nice. We're going to go to the Eden Project, but then it would have been a bit of a journey too far to drag my mum around the whole place. So we gave up on that one. I suppose it's a bit run down these days as well, so we didn't bother. But that was our big thing. Half term, 5 days in Cornwall. Very pleasant. Made some more memories. Magic.
Yeah. Oh, I do like Looe. I believe it's the filming location for, what's it called, Beyond Paradise?
Oh, okay.
I think some of our friends, Maddie and Scotty in particular, watch either Death in Paradise. I don't know if they're interested in the spin-off, but I'm pretty sure it's filmed there because I saw them doing something about it. It looked very familiar. My favourite thing in Looe, having had some nice times there myself, was that they have a music festival, and when we were there, they were advertising the music festival, and their headliner was Looe,
Hey.
which I'm sure they booked her purely for the musical value and not for the kind of amusement that ensued. Excellent. Is your mum feeling better?
No.
She's all right. Oh, no. I thought she was from the holiday, at least.
We've knackered her out completely.
Okay.
Just booked back into a physio in a couple of weeks, but that's the earliest appointment she can get. So at the moment, she's just sort of crumpled in a heap on the sofa waiting for the physio. So there we go. But we also stopped at Portishead on the way. You know Portishead, Giles?
Familiar with the band, yeah?
Yes, and the place. I thought it was going to be a grim place by the moodiness of the music, but it was actually quite pleasant, Portishead.
Yeah.
Had a very nice lemonade and a little walk along by the locks, and it was perfectly pleasant. So I don't know why the 90s band Portishead was so moody, because the place is quite pleasant.
Cheer up. Was it Beth? I think Beth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
happy
band.
days.
Great band.
Hold that thought, because I believe they featured on the soundtrack in one of our games we both played this month.
Yes.
So it all comes together.
Everything always does.
Entirely planned and not random kind of fashion. It was too hot, wasn't it? I think. We went from wishing that there was a bit more sun to sort of hiding indoors for the whole week, which was a bit depressing when you've got a bank holiday and then, a nice sunny week, but finding that it's actually too warm to want to go and do anything. Then in the evenings, when it had cooled down a bit and we were very excited and we thought we could at least go for maybe a nice walk or something, or go out to a pub or dinner, we realised that we just wanted to open all the windows and leave them open, and we don't want to leave the house. So we were either in the house avoiding the sun, or in the house trying to get the sun out of it that had been accumulating for the last days.
Can I recommend one really good thing to do when it's baking hot?
Yes, please.
Get inspired to build a pergola from scratch.
No.
Yeah, so that's what I did in the first 3 baking hot days. I bought some wood from a wood place, and I've been to a garden centre and took some photos of what a pergola looks like. If you wanted to spunk £300 on it, but if I don't want to spunk £300 on it, I want to spunk £100 on it and do it myself from scratch. So I smurfed together 2 different pergola designs from 2 different garden centres and made my own. Painted it green, looks lovely. Very pleased with the outcome, but suffered about 15 heat strokes on the way to making it. Bizarre decision to make it on those days, but it looks great. So next time you come around, you can enjoy our pergola in a lovely willow green colour.
I'd like that a lot. When you said you smurfed them together, I wasn't expecting green, but I am colourblind, so maybe you could have just told me it was bright blue and I would have fallen for it. Awesome. Well, that's slightly insane, but kind of fun. And congratulations if it's still up by the time I come around to visit. I'm sure it will be. But
I was going to say, I think if you mix a Smurf and the sunshine together, you get green.
Ah, there you go. Again, all comes together. What have we been doing? Well, mostly a little bit of wedding stuff. So we're getting married next year, as well you know, and some of our listeners know. Save the date. But we are planning something little, which should involve very little planning. But there's still lots of things to organise at this point, and then hopefully it goes a bit calmer after that. So we've been running around doing that, just trying to juggle 3 things, essentially: the registrar, the venue, and then the venue where we're going to go and have food, because they're not the same. And it's been surprisingly difficult to get people to take our money. Everyone is very chilled and quite happy to sort of hold dates and things, and we're like running around going, could we just pay you? We'd feel a bit more comfortable if we paid you. So hopefully that all works out. And then apart from that, actually lots of indoor stuff, but involving watching Arsenal. So as an Arsenal fan, it has been quite the roller coaster of the month. Quite a lot of football. So thanks to Hannah for bearing with me and cheering along every now and again. But it's culminated, obviously, in winning the league for the first time in more than 20 years, which was very exciting, though a bit odd because we weren't actually playing at the time. Much more relaxing when we're not playing, I find. And then culminated in going to the pub with Craig to watch the Champions League final, where, rather disappointingly, in a pub in Wokingham, about 2/3 of the supporters were, I wouldn't describe them as PSG fans, I'd just describe them as very much not wanting Arsenal to win. So well done, Gary Neville and the various press in continuing that sort of anti-Arsenal agenda, because it was a bit disappointing to be surrounded by people quite so much enjoying being, 15th, 16th, 17th in the Premier League and having another team not win. But it was always a bonus. PSG are a great side. Wasn't the best of games, don't know. Did you watch it?
No, I know it's going to be dire, so yeah.
And it was. But, penalties is always fun unless you support one of the teams. So that was agony. But yeah, that was really our month. Being hot, trying to organise a wedding, and in my case, watching a lot of Arsenal, and in some cases enjoying it. So there we go.
Better than not enjoying it at all, in which case it could be a Reading fan for the last few years.
Indeed.
Not an ounce of enjoyment in years, but there we go.
Next year is going to be it.
Before, sorry, George. Oh, sorry, mate. Carry on. What was it?
No, I think I was going to say, what have you been watching? You've been watching some things that you've had a bit more fun on.
I'll come on to that in a minute, Giles. I've got plenty of time. We've got another 54 minutes to go. Yeah, right. Jeez. Calm down. It's also been Joshua's birthday, so we went to a few places for Joshua's birthday, and one of those things on a few days after was going to Oxygen, which is a trampoline park with some of his friends, and then we went off to see a film afterwards because you like films. I feel like we can bond over having watched a film now, and we watched The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh, Jesus.
But I was excited when I saw that in the notes. That's what I was referring to, because I was making my way through the third series of Mandalorian so that I could go to the cinema. So that's in my notes. Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
But I found it so kind of fine that I didn't manage to get to the end of it in time to go to the cinema. So how was the film, James? Did Joshua enjoy it?
I've never seen any of the series, so I knew nothing about it.
Okay.
But it was the only film that was a 12 or under on that day, so we just picked that up. Now, we like Star Wars. We've watched Star Wars stuff in the past, and the film was good. Quite humorous.
Okay.
So obviously Grogu's quite small as a character, and there are other very small characters, like little engineer characters. And just the nature of them being small made them amusing.
Yeah.
It's deliberately done. We weren't just laughing at small things.
No.
Yeah.
Any smaller listeners, yeah.
One of our friends is quite small. We don't laugh at her laugh at her for other reasons, but not because of the height. Yeah, but the film was good. Deliberately comedic in part. Lots of action. Obviously, no lightsaber action, which is unusual for a Star Wars film.
More blasters, aren't they?
Yeah, lots of blasting and lots of action and lots of drama. And we all enjoyed it. About 2 hours, 10 minutes. Watching it with some 11/12-year-old children. They all enjoy it. Didn't get bored. They ordered a massive bucket of popcorn, ridiculous bucket of popcorn, which even they couldn't finish. It's so big, stupidly sized popcorn, stupidly expensive as well. But the film was good. Recommend it. So if you've not seen Mandalorian and Grogu, do watch it. And obviously it features Pedro Pascal from The Last of Us.
Yes, which I believe you might also have been watching.
Yes, which also links us back to a game called The Last of Us, which came out a few years ago, which me and Giles talked about in the past. Always linking back to games on this show. It's really clever. Last of Us Season 2, we watched Season 1 previously and enjoyed it. Bit meandered a little bit, didn't it, Season 1? Some of it was focused on the game and some of it was just some meandering stuff, like the bit on the farm with the elder gay guys.
That was good.
A big feature of the game. It was fine, yeah, but it did meander away from the script a bit. Whereas Season 2 so far feels like it ties in quite closely with the game, and some of the big features of the game were done very well in Season 2 so far. So I've only watched the first 4 episodes, I think, out of 7. So kind of just over halfway through this season, and really enjoyed it. Obviously, it's been a long time since the game came out, so most people know all the big moments in the game now, but the big moment was done really well and was quite graphic and quite dramatic and quite unpleasant and difficult to watch, which is how it was in the game when we watched it the first time. So that was fun. And also there were some nice bits like Ellie and Dina in a place with a backdrop of a broken window of lots of sort of grass and weeds growing through it, with Ellie playing a guitar. Looked identical scene from the game, and it made you think, oh, that's exactly from the game. So I looked up that scene that was an identical replica of the game, which is nice, because I like it where it ties in nicely together. So it's been good so far. Much prefer it to Season 1. It feels more action-packed, lots more zombie-type action in Season 2, much more dramatic. Obviously, you've got the love interest and you've got the drama, and I'm quite enjoying it. So recommend season 2 if those of you out there who haven't seen it yet, who have recently been able to access it on Virgin, like I have.
Good stuff. Yeah, I have seen the whole season, so I'll be interested what you think when it's all finished. But as you said, we both played the game, and towards there's a lot of climbing around on rooftops in a section of the game, isn't there? Yeah. So thankfully they didn't recreate that in real time, or that would have been another 3 or 4 episodes to the season. But yeah, there's been no word, I think, on season 3, or it is in progress, isn't it? They're definitely doing it, and there definitely is a season 3. So
yeah, it probably need to be a season 4 and a season 5 as for the last part of the game where you thought it ended, and there's another 10 hours of gameplay.
Dude. Yes. That was certainly the era of Sony thinking, you liked the first game, now let's just give you twice as much in the second game. So
yes,
but enjoyed it. Mostly enjoyed it. I don't know. Enjoyed is the right word, is it? The second half, brutal,
it's dark and miserable, and made you feel like you regretted your entire life. But it didn't even end nicely, did it? There was no nice ending to it.
No,
it's ideally set up for a nice ending, and then they put another 10 hours of gameplay. Your finger fell off, and everything was miserable. And you're like, Jesus, that's dark. Anyway, if you've not played it yet, enjoy.
There you go. Well, I can recommend a couple of slightly more light options. Nobody Wants This, which I don't think I spoke about last month, but if I did, apologies. We're always looking for a half-hour show, so this is on Netflix. Features Adrian Brody from the OC. Don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, of course. Love the OC.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember the lady's name now, but she was in the Good Place. She's a little blonde American woman, very funny, not Kirsten Wiig, but someone. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look that up at some point. Anyway, very good double act. It's a romantic comedy in half an hour slots. He is a Jewish rabbi, which sort of sounds like the setup possibly to a sort of a very short joke, but actually it's used. There's a bit of sort of culture clash type comedy, which is quite good. She presents on a very successful podcast, so very hard to relate to. Very hard to relate to her and her sister. But it's very good. Recommend that on Netflix. We've just finished we nearly finished the first season, and there's 2 and a third one coming. So if, like us, you're looking, listeners, viewers, for a half-hour show, recommend it. I think I recommended it to Craig last week, so hopefully he's enjoying it too. And then watched a couple of films. The Finishing Scheme, which I think I've got right, is the latest Wes Anderson. It's very much a Wes Anderson film. If you like that sort of thing, which I do, you're going to enjoy it. If you don't, you're going to be completely bamboozled for about 2 hours. And it does star essentially everyone who's ever starred in a previous Wes Anderson film. Good. So he's building up a little repertoire, but they're all the same people, which is kind of quite funny to watch. And Tuna as well, which is Tuner, not Tuna. It's not the fish, but that's a common misunderstanding within the film as well. But that's very good, about a piano tuner who realizes that he can crack safes because he can listen very carefully to things. Starring Leo Woodall from One Day, and I think he was in the most recent Bridget Jones, and he was in The White Lotus. It's very good, just a kind of slick, fun, crimey type thriller. And if you like music, or have ever played music, or done your what are they called? Oh gosh, levels at some point, your grade 1s and your grade 2s and all that sort of stuff. There's some kind of fun music stuff in there, as well as lots of crime stuff, which is not a regular crossover from memory. So, good month. Is that everything from you, James?
Yeah, I'm now picturing a tuner playing the piano. So that's going to occupy me for the next hour. Or the next 44 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'd struggle with these sort of individual. They'd struggle with chords, wouldn't they? I would have thought. But they haven't really got the body. Not really got the body for chords, have they? Nice. It's funny, you don't get many fish musicians in general. Apart from, wasn't the lead singer of Marillion?
Musician, yeah.
There we go. Anyway, apologies. There are more dad jokes like that coming, I am sure. Right. Shall we move swiftly on to games?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it. So, this month, our Love It or Leave It option, where you should set up the scene, I suppose. Each month we pick a game from the subscription services. We give it a go.
Yes.
Both play the same thing so that we can kind of compare and contrast. Try and give it a good, sizable poke indeed. I think we sort of said kind of 4 hours-ish was our estimate, but it's really just to get a proper sense of a game. And this month's choice was Replaced. Which is, again, I don't mean this choice was replaced, although it nearly was. We nearly did pick something else, which would have been confusing. But the game is called Replaced. It's from a Ukrainian studio, I believe, called Sad Cat Studios, which is quite a good name, I think.
Yeah.
And because of obvious reasons, they've had quite a difficult time developing this game. It's been coming a while, but it's out. It's a kind of 2D, cyberpunky platform, beat 'em up, puzzle 'em up. It's been on my list for a very long time. Caught my eye. And what are you thinking of it, James, so far? I think you're not quite finished yet, right?
Annoyingly, I'm currently thinking of a sad cat watching a tuner playing piano. But there we go. I try and refocus my mind now. Let's refocus. Yes, Replaced. So, there's lots of things to like about Replaced. Some of the things we thought we were going to like last month was the art style, because everyone talked about the art style. It's very unique. It's not a very modern art style. It's quite a retro-ish art style. It's not like got whoppingly amazing graphics. It doesn't really make full use of modern technology, particularly, but it looks cool, I think. So there's sort of lots of shady, arty, pixelated stuff and scenes and interesting stuff. So yeah. So for me, it didn't look amazing, but it looked cool, which is fine. Good. Gameplay and action, lots of action. I like lots of action, so that's good. Lots of fights and battles and baddies to knock around. The initial battles are quite straightforward. It teaches you quite well as you go by the first level. It teaches you all the different moves as you go along. And you need to do extra things for different people, so you can like slide and you can jump and you can hit things. You can counter attack, and you can eventually you get a little weapon which you have to charge up to use. It's like a little gun, but the battery's knackered. So you can use it, but you have to whack them like 6 or 7 times before the gun charges, and then you can shoot them with the gun. So with some particularly fat baddies, then you knock them about a bit, and then you shoot them, and then they can die. Whereas it's hard to just whack them about a bit because they don't die, because they need shooting, because they're fat baddies. Like I said, the story's unusual. I haven't quite got my head around the story still after 5 hours of playing. So you start off in some kind of science place, and then some kind of incident occurs, and the police arrive, and things blow up a little bit, and there's some fires and stuff, and you run away, and you're sort of immersed in like a virtual reality type thing with a person that's kind of a machine, and then you run away together and escape the police, because it turns out the police are coming to sort you out rather than to look after you. And the machine, throughout, it keeps thinking the police are going to be nice and they should be doing this, and it's sort of trying to obey logic, when obviously real life isn't based around logic, it's based around other things. So you run away and escape the police, and then you keep running, and you keep doing things together as a machine/human combo, and there's lots of stuff to do.
Sounds like you are a bit confused. How far through the game are you? Do you remember what chapter you're on?
Yeah, I've only just defeated the fat rat thing.
That rat thing in the termite boss.
I think it's end of chapter 3, end of chapter 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Termite boss.
The story does become a bit clearer. I think it's an AI that sort of kind of takes over the body of a human. So
good reach, isn't it?
It's working together, but almost like the body is kind of like a meat puppet, and it's the AI that's kind of doing the controlling from a memory. But in terms of look, I liked it a lot more. I thought it was really impressive. It's certainly not a sort of AAA 3D type presentation, but I think this is one of the most stylish games I've played. I love the style, and it's got that kind of grungy cyberpunk look, but it's more Blade Runner, I think, than Cyberpunk 2077. Sort of more like what people thought the future would be in the 80s or in the 70s when technology was a bit basic. So your PDA is like a sort of green screen, like original Game Boy sort of thing, isn't it? So it's got that sort of retro futuristic look, which I like. But some of the shots, some of the lighting, I think is absolutely stunning. There's a fight I think you'll have got to, with the projector. And so there's a scene, if you've beaten the termite boss, the person I think you're talking about, you get into a room, there's a projector projecting a film onto a screen, and then you're kind of lit up in this projection, and the fight's going on. That's just super cool. So I really liked how it looked, and although it's 2D, you get stuff flying at the screen every now and again. You can move in and out as well. So I like that. But sorry, James, you were saying, how are you enjoying the gameplay overall?
Yeah, so it took me a while to get into it. Lots of running away at first, and it seemed a little bit repetitive at first to me. But then I started to enjoy it after probably about an hour and a half. The first hour, I was like, this is okay. But then I got into it after an hour and a half and started to enjoy it a lot more. And the battles got a lot harder. They chuck a lot of people at you, but they only come in little sequences. So you got like 5 people to fight at a time. So you sort of are ducking and bobbing and weaving and diving through people. Some people shooting stuff at you, which is a bit of a pain. So there's sort of a bit of red comes on the screen and the dotted line appears as to when the gun's going to shoot. So you have to duck under that, which is cool. And some people wear armour, so you've got to bash them around a bit with your super bash to bust the armour before you can bash them properly. And like I said, some people you need to shoot with a gun after building up. So interesting. And then when you defeat like a person and another person pops in from the back of the screen, like in Street Fighter in the old days, when you got a crowd of people at the back doing cool stuff, and then they just appear and join in the sequence. That's quite fun. Like I said, the termite boss was quite tricky. It's one of those annoying bosses that come back to life and go, "Oh, I'm not dead. Look at me. I'm starting from scratch again." So you have to beat him twice. But that was cool. That was a nice battle. And so all good. The only thing that really annoyed me was the soundtrack I've mentioned before, because you find stuff as you go through the game. So you find like recordings and stuff, and stuff that you can read to learn a bit about the lore of the game and the history and where it all came from and all that jazz. But you could also pick up soundtracks, which sounded cool. So you pick up some soundtrack, and then you have to go into your PDA, as Giles mentioned, to listen to the soundtrack. But when you come back out of the PDA, the soundtrack doesn't carry on playing; it just stops playing. So in order to listen to the soundtrack, you have to stay in the menu and just stand there for 3 minutes to listen to the soundtrack. And that really annoyed me, because I wanted the soundtrack to be the game. Because for me, the music in the game wasn't particularly exciting. Lots of people said it's thrilling and really atmospheric. And I thought it's all right, but I would have rather have listened to one of the edgy soundtracks rather than listen to the not much of the actual soundtrack. So that really bugged me. But apart from that, really good game. Like I said, 5 hours in, which I think is about probably between a third and a half of the way, probably a third, to be honest. But I'll carry on playing it, no issues with that one. And Giles really enjoyed it, so all good. It must be really good.
Yeah, I'm a bit further ahead. Played about 10 hours, and I am on chapter 8 of what is apparently 10. So yeah, sounds like you're about a third of the way. Be interesting how you find the difficulty. There was a bit not too much further on from where you are, where I actually got really annoyed and had the same fight for about an hour, and I decided that might be the time to drop down to easy. So I did that and have not regretted it since. Still, actually, even on easy, it's not super challenging, but you still have to kind of get the timing right. That combat that you mentioned, if anyone's played the Batman Arkham Asylum or Batman Arkham City games, it's like that. It's also like Spider-Man on the PlayStation. So, you'll have a different colour flash up, and you'll know that's to be avoided or countered or blocked or jumped over, like you said. It's a bit sort of heavier and clunkier, I think, than those systems, though. So I also thought at the start this is a little bit slow and sluggish.
Yes.
But I've grown to love it. I feel like it's weighty, I've decided instead. It sort of goes with that slightly kind of grungy, mechanical feel that's on in the game. I thought there were some pretty decent puzzles as well. They're fairly basic. Go and find a battery to come and charge this thing to be able to move over, but there's also some quite good platforming as you progress. So that mixture of shooting and punching and jumping and puzzling is kind of right up my alley. And they do get sort of layered on, so you do get some puzzles later on where you kind of almost need to go back and forth across a few different areas. So, for me, pros, the visual identity, I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. Loved that mixture of combat, platforming, and puzzling. And the cons for me, there's an area which you do go back to a couple of times, which is like a town area where they've obviously tried to make it a bit more almost RPG-like. So you'll get these little missions. Can you just go and find this, or go and solve this thing over here? That genuinely, because I was playing quite late at night, made me a bit sleepy. So I wasn't a huge fan of that, and happy to get back to the punching and the kicking. Sometimes I didn't know exactly where I was going because of that sort of grimy aesthetic. I don't know about you. Did you ever not quite know where you're supposed to jump to, Joe?
Really early on, I did.
Yeah.
I couldn't work out how to get back somewhere, and I knew it was there, but I just couldn't remember for the life of me how to get back to it. And that bugged me for a little while. But since then, it's been fine for me.
Yeah, we can play in as gamers, the capital G, there's that yellow paint problem where it's sort of really spelt out to you where you need to climb up, and it has a little bit of yellow paint, but it's much less obvious in this game, which I think is hard to then complain about not being clearly sort of signposted where to go. But I definitely am doing that right now, and yeah, I just found it a little bit too hard. So, like I said, as soon as I was enjoying the challenge, and then it got to the point where it was just too much, and I dropped down. So. Yeah, I'll save my score. Any pros and cons for you, James, that I haven't covered?
No, very similar. Good mix of puzzles and combat and platforming. So it's nice. Like I said, the soundtrack annoyed me, or lack of soundtrack. And like I said, it took me a while to get into it because it did feel a bit slow and a bit not much action at the start. But then it got much better. So yeah, interesting story is a good thing to it. Like I said, whether you like the art style or not is a different kind of atmosphere than a normal modern game. So that's cool. And probably for me, somewhere about 7.5 at the moment, but it could go up, could go down. Depends how hard it gets and how annoying I get and whether I can be bothered.
It depends how annoying you get, did you say?
Yes. More annoying by the month, I've worked out. It's not good.
The poor game. I mean, it's really up against it. I'm really intrigued, if you stick with this one, how you feel about it by the end of it, because after that change of difficulty, I've enjoyed it, I think, more and more. And I was probably with you. I think I was probably an 8, expecting an 8, sort of, even about halfway through the game. For me now, if it sticks the landing, it's going to be a 9. I'm really enjoying this. So, I recommend it to anyone who that sounds like their sort of thing.
And I now get to play it on Joshua's new controller, which he got for his birthday.
Ooh, what's the controller?
An Elite Series 2, but with the paddles on the back and the adaptive triggery things.
Very fancy.
Yeah. It's a nice dark green colour with gold knobs and D-pad. It's quite cute.
Excellent.
It's fun. Yes, all good.
Are you allowed to play, or is he going to listen to this and then hide it?
No, he's fine with it. It's very cool. Very cool.
Good stuff. Replaced wasn't the only game that we both played this month, was it, James? There was another.
Yes. So one of the other things we've been talking about for a long, long time is a game called Mixtape, which, as the name would suggest, has a good amount of musical focus in it, running along the gameplay. So effectively, there's 3 people, 2 ladies and a man, who are sort of finishing their school careers. And one of the ladies is about to move away to pursue a kind of a musical type career. She's meeting someone famous and might be able to push her in the right direction. So instead of going on a big road trip they planned, she's planning to go off to New York or somewhere to pursue her dreams of being a person who picks music for films and stuff to set scenes and things. And it's quite a nostalgia fest because it's set probably in the 90s-ish, which is when me and Giles were a bit younger, still quite old, but a little bit younger. And it's a similar vibe. So obviously, whatever we are now, 47, so mid-90s when we're probably in our prime, and about 16, 17, before uni. And so it's kind of the same kind of period. So it makes you quite nostalgic. And there's 30 different chapters, and each chapter's set to a different song. I was expecting all the songs to be from the 90s, but lots of songs were a lot older, sort of 60s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s, and a few
Yeah.
90s bits in there. So they weren't as recognisable as I was expecting to be. They weren't creating the exact vibe I was hoping for from 90s bangers when there's sort of slow stuff in the 60s and 70s. But okay. Set the scene nicely, move well. There's some gameplay to it. So a lot of it is, it's not really a walking simulator, but a lot of it is pre-programmed. You go and click on the yellow flashing bits and it tells you some stuff and it gives you some flashbacks from the past on how they made friends and different situations they've been in over the years and lots of nostalgia vibes to it. And then you sort of move on to the next scenario. But somewhere along you can do some skating. So you're on a skateboard for some of it and that's quite fun. You can glide around cars. And a bit like Forza, if you crash into a car, you can rewind and then you don't crash into a car the next time, which is quite Forza-esque. So that's quite fun. You can do other things in it, involving some interaction. So there's a sequence at a party where you film some things. There's another sequence in a car where you control fireworks by using your hands. There's some weird out-of-body experiences, either through drink or drugs, where you sort of float around between places, and that's kind of fun. There's lots of time spent in people's bedrooms, going through their possessions and getting shouted at by their parents. So that's all fairly nostalgic vibe as well. So yeah, so basic bits of action, but mostly it's a story that you're playing through, listening to different types of music on a nice nostalgia trip. Haven't quite got to the end yet. I'm half an hour from the end.
Yeah.
So I'm nearly there, but me and Sarah ran out of time when we tried to finish it the other day, and now we've got to finish it another day for the last half an hour. So we've got through most of the sequences, but there's 3 chapters to go just to finish it off. But I've enjoyed it. I probably wasn't as blown away by it as I was hoping to be, and the music didn't hit as hard as I hoped it would have done because it wasn't all completely relevant to me and my childhood, but it was still good, and it did create a nice vibe, I thought.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? Because it's we did grow up in that era, but like you said, the music was a bit more sort of eclectic. I'm not sure about you. I did a very, very limited amount of skateboarding. I didn't live in the States. I didn't ever TP a house or do any of those things that you see in sort of American high school films. And yet somehow the nostalgia bit did feel kind of universal. That sort of the feelings of just, feeling like everything is so important. The decisions you're going to make are going to change your life. Hanging out just with friends, it really captures that kind of mood and that sense of, life's about to change. We're going to go off and do something different. Are we going to sort of see each other, meet new friends, all that sort of stuff. So that was really good, I thought. The whole sort of discourse of, is it even a game, I think is a bit tedious, to be honest. But some of the online stuff, or any of the online stuff about anything is a bit tedious, isn't it? But I think there's a lot of nonsense there. I certainly play lots of things where there's very little interaction, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a really good story, and you do have to be involved somehow in that story. That to me is kind of, that is playing. But strangely though, whereas this is completely my sort of jam on paper, and I was really looking forward to it, it didn't massively work for me. I didn't really enjoy it, and I wonder if that was because I was playing in really little chunks. I quite often would play like a song and then kind of shut down because I was playing something else at the time, or if it just the sort of lack of, I guess, consequence for me was quite telling. Like you said, you could rewind, so there's no kind of jeopardy in that sense. There wasn't any choices. You were telling a particular story rather than your own story, in which some of these types of games where you don't have so much action, you might have more of an impact on the story, perhaps. So I thought it was beautiful. I really liked the style. I don't think we talked about that, have we? It was kind of almost like kind of clay animation, stop motion characters. But some of the background, especially that opening, it starts and ends really well, I've got to say. So hope you enjoy those last few chapters. But, skateboarding down through the streets looked pretty much real to me. And then your characters being kind of slightly kind of stop motion-y, that was quite fun. But yeah, it just didn't. I felt like I was kind of going through the motions a little bit on some of the slightly weirder, funnier tasks, and I kind of thought this is cool, but I'm not necessarily enjoying playing it. So I have finished. I was expecting good things from this one. I was disappointed, and I would give it a 6.
I enjoyed it, but I wasn't excited by it. There was no exciting part to it. And also, as a game I picked to play with Sarah, so I was hoping it's going to be a little bit more exciting and a bit more interactive, but there wasn't really any puzzles to solve or much to do. And like you said, it was going to be the same whatever happened. So you just skateboarded down a hill a few times and made some slushes for some reason and played some memories. So it's a nice feel to it. Graphically nice, voice acting was fine. It was all fine, it just wasn't exciting. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to finish it because there's only half an hour to go, so I want to see how it ends now. I'm glad it's a fairly short game. It's only about 4 hours in length. If it was like 8 hours in length, I probably would give up because it's not exciting enough to plough for another 4 hours of it. But it was fine. And obviously we played Bloom and Rage last year, didn't we? Which had a similar kind of vibe to it, similar part of life. But we thought we were going to feel more connected to this one because that was quite a young lady adventure, and this is more of a mixed bag. But yeah, although it connected in nostalgia parts, it didn't connect as much as I was expecting. So yeah, like Giles, a little bit disappointed, but still decent, and I don't regret playing it. But probably 6.5, 7 at most. Don't know what the end is going to be like yet, but it was fine. It was an enjoyable 4 hours, but lots of build up. I think the build up kind of killed it. We talked about it for a year and thought it was going to be awesome, but it's okay.
That's the thing. Nostalgia is perhaps too strong, and anticipation is perhaps dangerous. That's what we're saying in this one, I think.
I think nostalgia's best left in the past.
There we go. Stick that on the clip. Excellent. So those are the 2 games we both played this month. We've also individually been playing quite a lot else. James, I know you've got an eclectic selection here. So do you want to take us through your first batch?
Yes, I have 3 chunks, and we're going to alternate between our chunks. So my first chunk is quite a big chunk. We talked about it last month, I think, Project Hospital. Yeah,
yes.
Sure I did. Yeah, good. I always do. We'll do it to everyone. People in the street just start talking about Project Hospital. Really enjoyed Project Hospital. I mentioned in the last episode that I tried to play it years ago and thought it was a bit arse, but this time I played and it was really good. So you basically build a hospital with all the relevant facilities for lots of different types. So you've got the heart bit and the brain bit and the general trauma bit and yeah, stuff like that. You recruit staff, you build rooms, you put equipment in, you can help step in and solve cases and do diagnoses to make them quicker. You can put in staff restrooms and keep staff happy and patient happy. And you make money and you deal with ambulance queries and stuff. I talked about it last month, so I won't bore you to death with it, but I got to the stage where there wasn't much more to expand with the hospital. I got over the department, it's all going well, got a good rating. Quite happy with the way it finished, probably ploughed about 35, 40 hours into it and enjoyed it the whole way through. So no regrets, very fun. Could have spent another 50 hours, but I wouldn't have gone any further. And there's lots of other things I wanted to be doing in my life, apart from building a hospital. So that was that one, nailed. For a genre of management and building and that kind of thing, it was very good. So probably about an 8.5 for that one. Maybe even a 9. Played some of the DLC as well, which was fun. There was like an infectious disease one, so that was fun. And there was a trauma one, which is fun.
Infectious diseases are fun.
They can be, depending on what you get and when you get it. So that was that one. And I also, for my other building type one, I went back to a game called Hotel Architect, which I've talked about at length in the past as well, which is where you get put in scenarios in different countries of the world and create a hotel that matches those environment and the weather and the conditions and all that stuff. So I finished playing it months ago in early access because that's all the levels done. But they kept saying it's going to come out in real life soon, and there's going to be 2 new levels. And then it came out in real life, so it's no longer in early access on Steam. It's in real life access. And there's 2 new levels, one in London and one in the Black Forest in Germany. So I played those 2. Again, I really enjoyed it, and it was good fun. And that's the end of that one now. So now it's out of early access. I doubt there's going to be any more levels apart from paying for a DLC in the future, maybe. But that's good. Really good game, very simple, quite cartoonish in style, but quite involved, and you have to think about it and put some effort into it. So really enjoyed both of those games. Chunk 1 complete.
Nice. And these are sort of like top-down type or isometric type view management things, aren't they? We were discussing before the podcast, listeners, that we should definitely pick something from the genre for a future Love It or Leave It. So if you've got any suggestions on one of the subscription services, I think you tend to be buying these on Steam quite often for not so much money, if I remember correctly. But if there's one on the subscription services, we will give it a go. I'll see what I'm missing with all these management sims.
It's almost an addiction. Like I said before, I've got like 50 things on my Steam wish list, and literally every day you get an email saying, "Oh, this is like 100% off. We're paying you £50 to play this game. Please play." And you go, "Oh God, let's get this game for 4p." And then you spend hours playing a 4p game that spends 30 hours. Anyway, do continue with your game.
Amazing. I look forward to going down that rabbit hole, or possibly finding a simulator games player simulator. They should just go more meta. I imagine it's been done, actually. I know there's a game developer simulator, isn't there? It's like...
Played loads of them. Game Dev Tycoon, Game Dev Story, Mad Games Tycoon. Played all of them. Great games.
Excellent, excellent.
Good.
There's probably a podcast on as well, but I won't. Maybe practice. Okay, well, my other two games of the month are both games I talked about last month, so I will try not to repeat myself too much. Both quite chunky, though, particularly Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5. This is also currently available on PlayStation Plus subscription, so that's how I'm playing it. And where we left off, essentially, last month, I was about halfway through-ish, bit over, having a good time, and expected it to come in scoring pretty highly. So, quick summary, spoke last month, but there's two Spider-Men swinging around New York, fighting crime and whatnot, helping out lower level stuff, as you do, friendly neighborhood Spider-Men. But there's also a big, massive, blockbuster level threat, which is driven by Kraven the Hunter, famous from the comics and infamous from the terrible Sony spin-off movie of recent times. So it's him and his goons sort of invading New York, but there's also potentially some other bad forces at work, which I'll sort of save from going into for spoiler territory. You switch between the two Spider-Men, so Peter Parker and Miles Morales throughout, and it just feels like an epic citywide battle for survival. It's an amazing game. Really, really enjoyed it. Amazing Spider-Man. That wasn't deliberate. Expect to find yourself swinging, not like that. Lots of, again, Batman Arkham Asylum type combat. And generally some mini games, little puzzle mini games. Fair bit of stealth. You sneak around. You might also play as Mary Jane a little bit here and there. So Mary Jane does this time, though, have some form of self-defense, which in the first one she didn't. But mostly expect these ridiculous, massive set pieces. And honestly, they are epic. It's the only word for them. They huge scale, very fun, lots of variety, go on a bit. So especially if you start one late at night, as I did quite often, expect to have your sleep rather interrupted. What is particularly good about this game, it's quite long. So I spent, let me just double check, I spent about 24 hours playing this game.
So one day.
Exactly. I finished the main story and I had 36% overall completion. So you could definitely spend longer. I did do some of the side missions in that as well, so you could spend shorter. But about halfway through, the story and the gameplay evolve in a certain way, and that really keeps it fresh. So something new is introduced into the mix. It made it feel like the essentially second and third Spider-Man games, not just the second one, although technically the third one if you include Miles Morales. So it felt like two games. You had two halves, and I would have happily split them into two games because there was plenty to go round. But having them all together really completes this really cool story arc, and it goes to some pretty dark places. So pros, huge epic moments. I thought the fight, there was this like 2 or 3 stage fight about 2/3 of the way through, which was a fight, then a chase, then another fight. He practically covered the whole map. It was just incredible. And that's pulling out one of probably 5 or 6 really, really good, massive boss fights. Some genuinely good side stuff, which in an open world, I often, very rarely rather, find that's the case. I like to just charge my way through the main line like I did in Cyberpunk. But in this, I did find myself, as I was getting towards the end, actually doing more of the side missions because I was enjoying it and I wanted to see a bit more of the world. That did make me realise that if you do those earlier, you probably have an easier time in those massive battles because you upgrade. So just a tip for anyone who's playing. It's also funny. It's really funny and well written, and possibly one of the better superhero type experiences, given that a number of the superhero films I think have gone a bit off the rails recently. So one of the better experiences I had. Only negatives, bit of repetition. The fights are quite repetitive. It is, like I said, it's that, colour flashes up over the enemy, swarm of enemies around you, and they do go on a little bit. So I could have done with that being scaled back a bit. The bosses, some of them are those multi-health bar bosses. So again, they go on a bit. And speaking of going on a bit, there was about a 10-minute epilogue kind of movie at the end, which, especially because I'd finished it late night, I was not a huge fan of, although it was very cool and, the story was great. So, love this game. Been thinking about, it's definitely at least a 9 for me. And I was thinking about whether it was a 10, which I would consider a masterpiece.
Wow.
And I was thinking 9.5 seems a bit Weasley. Is this the best version of a big action adventure game that I've ever played? And the answer was yes. So I'm going to give it a 10.
Wow.
My second 10 of the podcast after Blueprints, I think.
Oh,
Love that game.
Much more playlist.
And it's just fantastic. And it is on PlayStation Plus. They will take it off at some point, so I'd highly recommend playing it. It's made me very excited for Wolverine as well. So that was one of my very fun list of games for this month.
Nice. There's a new Spider-Man film coming out soon.
There is.
Brand New Day, I think. Yeah.
Brand New Day, I believe it's called. So yeah, you had you've had sort of you had a trilogy. You had 2 films with Andrew Garfield. I think that you then had a trilogy again with Tom Holland as part of the MCU, and then this is the start of another trilogy.
Excellent. Can't be a good trilogy.
There's a lot of Spider-Man, but this is a great way to enjoy the character, and highly recommend it.
Very cool. All right, we'll get around to it, I'm sure, when I get back to playing a big game rather than just simulation games. And good. My next lump is 2 transport games that are probably as interesting as they sound by the introduction. One is called City Bus Manager. So, you're effectively managing buses in your city.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Similar to that game I mentioned before, Global Rescue, if it was called that potentially, where you type in your postcode, you do the same for this game. So you manage the bus routes around your local area. So you choose where you put your depot, and you put stuff in the depot, and you buy some buses. You can obviously research lots of things to improve and upgrade your buses, and get bigger buses and more modern buses and put air conditioning in and all that kind of jazz. But you then set up bus routes around your town/village, and you can either replicate your existing bus routes from real life. So all the bus stops in your local area are actually on the map. So you can choose your bus routes to involve your existing bus stops. Or you can put new bus stops in places where there aren't existing bus stops. Fascinating. Yeah. And then the trick is to incorporate your bus route in places where there's a high desire to go. So places with shops and features. So like the select car leasing stadiums, obviously everyone wants to go there to watch Reading play because it's so exciting. So obviously that attracts a lot of people on that bus route. Place with public houses, place with hospitals and clinics and lots of shops and lots of houses are good places. So you plot out the route, you then allocate a bus and a driver to the route, and then they go off and you can see the bus going around the route. And you can see how many passengers are at each bus stop in real time. You can see them getting onto the bus, and then the number goes up, and then they get off the bus at another place and the number goes down. So it's kind of lots of scenarios. So you do certain things to improve things. You have to do a certain amount of coverage and recruit a certain number of staff. It's fairly basic. It's not hard, but it's quite fun. It's quite rewarding to see your local city improve with good bus transit systems. So yeah, and they chuck in lots of funny things every now and again. So like you'll get a phone call from the Select Car Leasing Stadium saying on these 3 days we need 150 passengers travelling between X and Y places. So you have to then allocate some buses and drivers around your normal schedule, and it's all very dramatic. So that's City Bus Manager. Good fun. Probably won't play it for long, but it's the kind of game you can play for like half an hour in the middle of the night if you're bored of more action stuff, just to sort of rechannel the mind and refocus yourself on the world of buses. I'm not even a big bus fan. I don't even like getting buses, but the game's quite fun.
What attracted you to the game? You're just like, that sounds like a... Did you have a bad bus experience and you were like, I'm going to show them how it's done?
My brain works in weird ways, as you might have experienced over the last 30 odd years of friendship. So sometimes I just go on Steam and think, I really fancy playing a transport game. And then I look at the highest rated transport games, and what was it called? City Bus Manager. And I thought, okay, I'll purchase that for a few quid, a few pence, and give it a poke. And that was that. Good.
And did you see any other transport managing games while you were there and think,
hundreds?
I really fancy playing the second best transport managing game, and that's what led you to your next choice.
Some of the best transport manager games are really old.
Okay.
From the olden days, which I used to play when I was a little bit hairier, in the correct places. But another game that I decided to play is called Rail Route. It's a transport game, but a very different type of transport game. So this one, you don't really see the place or the trains or the station. It's all done in a sort of topographic map format.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like looking at a tube map. So you see stations allocated and a number of platforms, which you can buy platform 1 at Reading Station, for example. And then you have to allocate routes to other stations just in a topographic map format. And then you take on contracts between those two stations, allocate trains to them based on a contract, and then your job is to dispatch the trains so they make it to the destination in accordance with the timetable, without bashing into other trains or without getting stuck or by meeting the passenger volumes. So it's interesting. So it's more of a puzzle game than a transport game. The fact that there's trains going is almost irrelevant. You're getting a thing from A to B or A to C or A to B and then to C, avoiding D. And it gets the mind working. And it gets quite challenging. So as you take on more and more contracts, you've got more and more trains on your little map, which you're trying to guide from one place to another without interfering with the other trains' timetables. The more you meet the timetable, you get little green marks, and then you can use the green marks to upgrade stuff and get automatic signalling and automatic allowing trains onto platforms and automatic allocations and different automation devices. And then you can buy more speedy tracks and all that kind of jazz. So again, interesting. It's a transport game, but it's more of a puzzle game. So that's why I thought I'd give this one a go, because on the reviews on Steam, very highly rated, but it looked very different than City Bus Manager, which is very much a realistic bus type game.
And is this happening in real time? So as it gets increasingly complicated, you're having to sort of juggle those different things, or
yeah. So you can physically play it in real time. You can speed up to 10 times the speed if you want to, but you can play it in real time. So you click on a train, it tells you it has to be at station A at 8:11, station B at 8:14. It leaves station B at 8:15 and goes to station C by 8:20. So you can physically watch it as the time ticks by, the seconds go by, how long you've got to get to your next station. You're trying to navigate it on its way without causing chaos across the rest of the network. Fascinating game. So I enjoyed that one. I played a little go on that one. I only played it for a couple of hours in the middle of the night again, like I do. But yeah, don't really regret that one. Yeah.
Nice. Yes. Good stuff. We will keep an ear out for how you're going on that one. Well, my last game for this month was another game I played last month. Again, a sort of 3D action adventure type thing, but a bit less action, a bit more adventure. So this is Aphelion, which I talked about last month. Quick recap: Earth is becoming uninhabitable. Surprise, surprise, we've screwed it up again. The European Space Agency discovers a planet called Persephone. Thinks that might be a viable planet for humans to go to, or at least it might be possible to like terraform it and all that stuff, which I love from all the sci-fi. So there's two astronauts, Ariane and Thomas, get sent to Persephone to sort of see what's what, basically. It was made in conjunction with the ESA, the European Space Agency, so it does have it feels... I've never been to space. I watch the occasional documentary. Yeah, maybe one day. But it feels really believable in that sense, as much as it can do when weird stuff starts to then happen. But it's just got that sense of like wonder and exploration, and also hard graft that you would imagine is involved with being on a spaceship or then on a planet. So it opens with a crash, so no massive spoilers that you are then separated, the two of you. You play as both characters. They have slightly different controls, I mentioned last month. Ariane being a little bit more nimble, Thomas being just a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. But so it's a walking sim, really, with a little bit of action, but quite a lot of peril. We both enjoyed, I think, Still Waits the Deep, and I compared to that previously. It's very much in that genre. But what I really liked about it, so I was about halfway through, thinking somewhere around the 7 to 9 range. Continued pretty much as expected, to be honest, although the different elements really came together towards the end. There's chapter 9 of 11 was like everything together. It was really peak. Some stealth, some platforming, some climbing, some really great story beats. Really good. And then unfortunately, 10 and 11, as it finished, I didn't really like the way the story ended. I didn't really like, they sort of had no new mechanics because they'd introduced all these different mechanics, climbing, etc. And then in 9, it kind of culminated, and then they just dragged it out for quite a bit longer, unfortunately. So, presentation was amazing. It wasn't AAA. I think it was made for €9 million, which in gaming terms, Spider-Man apparently was something like $300 million, admittedly. But quite a difference. So it looks really good for how much it cost. Loved the main sort of mystery and story, and the fact that you did have some action without it being, shooting or bashing stuff. But it was slow in parts, sometimes really slow. Could have probably trimmed off an hour or two and I think been a slightly better game for it. You can get a bit lost in it. Again, not very well waymarked. There is a sort of glowy path line thing that you can use, but it doesn't always work very well, I think. And it just, I think, ran out of steam. Ironically, because you can get it on Steam. That's not ironic, is it? You could...
All right, Alanis.
It's like loads of spoons when you just want to cut something up. So yeah, the last few levels, it felt like it felt like the game was done, and that was a bit disappointing. Also, there was a game-breaking bug for me towards the end, which drove me mad because, again, strung out the completion, I probably would have finished Replace if it wasn't for this bug. So I can see why some people didn't like it because it was a bit wonky around the edges. There wasn't much action, but I thought this was so close to being very good. But I'd settle on 7.5. I thought it was good. It was a bit better than good, but it had too many flaws to recommend. So I enjoyed it. If you like that sort of thing, you might well enjoy it too. But just short of greatness.
It's tough now. There's so many games that you've just killed it for me, so I'm never going to play that game now.
Oh, James. I really think that, especially Ariane's stuff, I think you and Sarah, from what you described, you might enjoy it. Just play I would play the first couple of levels, and if you've enjoyed by the time you've got to one of Thomas's levels, you'll like the game, probably. Or just go and play Spider-Man 2, because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's too many 9s and 10s out there, unfortunately.
I need to pick a big game to play next that's not a stimulation game and doesn't really last for 4 hours. So it's really hard to pick one when I've got like 50 waiting to choose from. It's the inertia of it's the opposite of that.
This is more than life. Too much choice. Overwhelming.
And I also buy about 12 games per day on Steam, which doesn't really help. There we go.
Wrap us up, James. We've got 50 seconds.
Oh, rubbish. My final chunk is simulation games, weirdly. One very quickly, Electrofix Simulator. I played it because it kept advertising it on Facebook as a coming soon. So I keep wishlisting things that appear on Facebook So Facebook knows I like simulation games now, so it just keeps dumping every crap simulation game on when it's coming in the next year and makes me wishlist it. Fine. Get off my feed. And this one finally came out. And obviously when you wishlist something and it finally comes out, you get an email saying it's come out. How exciting. And annoyingly at that stage, you can't look at the reviews because it's only just come out, so there are no reviews. So you have to take a leap of faith and decide whether you're going to go for it or try and put out your head and ignore the Facebook feed. So Electrofix Simulator is a game whereby you run a shop which focuses on technology. Yeah. So you can sell video games, you can sell mobile phones, you can sell mobile phone covers and cases and components, but you also can repair some stuff. So people come in with their broken iPhones and you put a scanner over the top and it shows you what the issue is. And with the mobile phones, it's always a knackered battery, bizarrely. So then you purchase some non-knackered batteries. You use the physics of unscrewing the back of the phone and taking a battery out, putting a new battery in and giving it back. So the gameplay's quite limited so far. It sounded conceptually like it was going to be very exciting, but in reality, it's limited exciting.
That sounded up your street. Long-time listeners will remember an epic multi-month journey of getting your PC fixed. It's taking me back to those days.
I upgraded. I did so well at the game that I then was able to fix things that looked a bit like PlayStation 4s.
Okay.
So you then scan the whole of the thing that looked like a PlayStation 4 with a different logo on it. And there's multiple broken parts you can fix in there. Like you can fix like RAM, you can fix fans and stuff. And then exactly the same process, you use this fake screwdriver to take out the fake screws and put in a new component and give it back to the punter. So, but it wasn't massively satisfying. Even the parts you can sell games, but you can only put 4 of each type of game on the entire shelf. And then there's no way of tracking what the games were. And then they get bought and then you don't know what to replace them with. It was like, so much potential, but as yet, very much early release. I'm dreading to read the reviews now because they're going to be like 4%. But the game itself is a great concept. It's just crap at the moment. So there we go. So Electrofix Simulator, recommended if you enjoy crap games that you can't do much with. And then finally, to end on a high, a brilliant game called Parisian Brasserie Simulator, which sounds quite niche.
It does.
But in reality, I wanted a restaurant type game. That was what my brain was telling me that evening. So I searched on Steam for the highest rated restaurant type game. And again, there's some really old ones on there. But this one is quite new. And it's focused, as you can imagine, on a brasserie in Paris. And you own it. And you can do things like set up tables and buy furniture. But the mechanic is that you work in the restaurant. So originally you pour all the drinks, you order the food, you take the orders, and then you go around delivering all the orders and delivering all the drinks. And it's quite fast paced. So as people come in, you point them to the table, you take their order and you give them the food. But then you can gradually upgrade and get a bar staff and you can get a chef and a waiter to help you out doing it. And it's just really engrossing because you want more and more customers each day and you want to get the orders done before they get annoyed and leave. And you can actually bake bread and you can make croissants and so many exciting things. And you just want to make it bigger and bigger. And you can put a terrace in, you can build an upstairs level, and you just want to do really well. And it's really addictive. So I'm not a massive fan of Parisian brasseries in real life. The only one I've ever been to served food that was, it's called chitterling. It was like a dead thing in a fat sausage skin. Horrific. That was my only ever memory of a Parisian brasserie. But this one's a lot better. This does really nice food, and I'm really enjoying it. So I've probably plowed about 15 hours into it so far, and I've got no sign of giving up on that one. So please send help.
Yeah, and if you can remember the name of was it the place that you said it was called Chistling, or was the food stuff called?
The food item was called Chistling.
Okay. I was going to say we're going to Paris for a couple of days this month, and if you can remember the place, we can make sure we can avoid it. That would be good. Surely Parisian brasseries are just absolutely, like you said, there for your croissants and your coffees and your beautiful little pastries and your fancy.
This is like an authentic place that Alex Munro took us to.
Craig
is there as well, and Craig can eat everything, but even Craig struggled to keep down his chitterling. It was described as a pork sausage, and I thought, okay, that's the least weird sounding thing on the menu. Let's get a pork sausage, and it was just this corpse of a beast on a plate surrounded by like skin. It's like,
I'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you.
Yes. So I'm not selling chitterling in my Parisian brasserie in the game. I'm having a lovely time.
That's good.
Very much recommended for addictiveness and if you like Paris and brasseries.
I do, both of those things.
There you go,
Hopefully we'll do by the time we're back next month. Awesome. Well, that's quite an eclectic mix, isn't it, listeners? We have we have brought you Parisian brasseries. We've brought you swinging around, saving New York from mortal danger. We've brought you nostalgia fests, hospitals, retro futuristic cyberpunk. Next month, we're going to be bringing you Japan, and we're going to bring you racing because we will be playing Forza Motorsport 6. James, you've got your eye on this one. You've had your eye on this one, and I think we're both looking forward to it.
Personally, I'd call it Forza Horizon 6, but if you want to call it Motorsport, you can do.
What did I say? Oh, no, completely wrong. No. I was having some technical problems at the same time. I knew I'd do that. Yes, sorry, Forza Horizon 6. So this is the more driving game than the racing game. This is the fun one as opposed to the serious one, of course. But it's set in Japan, which in itself should be quite exciting, I guess.
Yeah, for those who've played Horizon games before, you drive around the country, flitting between races, but it's about exploration and driving through the countryside and finding hidden things and achieving little missions and then joining the occasional race as well, which is good fun. It's not a massively realistic racing game. It's more of a journey.
Yeah, arcadey. Lots of kind of fun challenges. Occasionally race some big or fast or both other vehicle in one of their sort of epic showcases. Yeah. And did I see Joshua's already? He's already started. He's got a head start on us, hasn't
he? He found that I originally started with Forza Horizon 2, which I don't even remember. Back in 2014, I think. Yeah. Played Forza Horizon 2. Must be on the Xbox 360, I guess. Who knows?
Yes. Nice. It was set in south of France and north of Italy. Love that game.
Nice. Very nice. And then I skipped Forza Horizon 3 apparently and played Forza Horizon 4 during lockdown, I guess. So that's when Joshua started liking Forza Horizon. That's one of the first games he ever played. Obviously, it was PG rated and quite exciting. And then Forza Horizon 5 was set in Mexico. Wasn't quite as exciting, a bit too open, not enough going on. But Forza Horizon 6, we downloaded it for his birthday and he's been playing it over the last week or so. I'm really enjoying it. It's a return to form for him for Forza Horizon games. But I've been deliberately not playing it yet because I knew we were going to be playing it for a game of the month. Love it or leave it for June. So therefore, I'm now going to start playing it once we publish this episode. But it looks really good. And it's very Japanese. You've got lots of blossoms and lots of fun scenery and mountains and backdrops and all that kind of jazz. And it looks very exciting so far.
Yeah, I think some of the countryside racing, some of the drifting, some of the Tokyo street racing in the night, I'm sure it's going to be exciting. Forza Horizon 3 was in Australia and was really cool. So I'd recommend it. But yeah, I've been playing since number 2 as well, even if I can't remember what it's called. And big fan of the series. Mexico, I thought they had a rally expansion, which was probably better than the main game. Okay. So I've even bought DLC for Forza. That's how much I like it. Which, apart from Indiana Jones, I think that's pretty much the only game. So, if you've already started or if you play it next month, listeners, viewers, please do let us know your thoughts on Forza Horizon 6. There's some changes in terms of the progression, new location. How does it compare? How long have you been playing? Let us know in the comments.
Awesome.
Excellent. Right.
And it's on Game Pass, isn't it?
It's on Game Pass, yeah. So you can play in your subscription on PC or Xbox Series X and S.
Yes, and if you've got a new controller, enjoy it.
It is coming to PlayStation 5 as well, but a little bit later this year. So I think it's probably somewhere in the autumn or the fall, if you're that way inclined. So Forza Horizon 5, the Mexico one, came to PlayStation last year, didn't it? And sold ridiculous numbers for a game that is 3 or 4 years old. So there we go. If you're on PlayStation and fancy dropping some money on that one, by the time you can, you'll have heard what we think of it.
Happy days.
speaking of dropping money, there's a PlayStation State of Play this week, and not only are quite a lot of the games that were featured coming out quite soon, which is a bit rare for these sorts of things.
Yeah.
But there was a pretty stacked and pretty attractive lineup there, James. Did anything take your fancy? Whether you will end up spending money on it or you will end up just buying something off Steam for some.
Actually, everything. There's no awful thing. I know was there. It's about an hour long. There's some banging trailers. We've already talked about Wolverine, or Giles alluded to Wolverine earlier in his Spider-Man 2 review. So Wolverine looks really cool. He's quite hairy.
He is hairy.
In the trailer.
Hairy, yeah, he's very hairy in the comics. Hugh Jackman Wolverine, if that's the only Wolverine you know, he's a lot shorter in the comics and a lot hairier. And they got both. They captured both. He was quite short, which I liked.
They look quite neatly combed shoulder hair on the side. Anyway, but it also looks quite gory as well. Literally the first few seconds of the trailer, he's sticking his fingernails into someone's back and the blood spurts everywhere, and it gets progressively worse throughout the trailer. It's quite gory and quite graphic. But it looks interesting, looks full of action and full of graphic gore, which is always a lovely combination. So looking forward to that one, as I'm sure you are, because it's one of those type of games.
Yeah, I think having finished Spider-Man, Wolverine's just absolutely shot up my list. It's a more narrative, single, sort of focused adventure. There's not an open world like Spidey, although that was a good open world. So I think especially if they maybe trim down the play length a little bit as well, then yeah, and if I can stomach it, because as you're right, it was really, really gory, that will be definitely one on my list. Anything else off the State of Play that grabbed your attention?
Yeah, we both also like the look of Stuntman Hollywood, I think.
Yes.
That looked really cool. So the concept with that one is you play a stuntman in various movie scenarios, and some of the things in there are like Knight Rider from like the 80s when we used to watch Knight Rider with Kit the car in it, and Back to the Future's in there as well with the DeLorean, where the doors come up and the stuntman gets out. It's really cool. So the concept's really good. I've never played a stuntman game before, I don't think, and certainly one that's based around exciting franchises looks really cool. So very much looking forward to that one, as you are. But I think, is that one this year or was that next year? It's actually, I think.
Yeah, I think it's at least next year. I have played a Stuntman game before.
Oh, was it called Stuntman?
Because there was one. It was either called Stuntman or it was called Stuntman Ignition. I'm just trying to remember. But it was back on PlayStation 2, according to Wikipedia, which probably means I won't be able to get my notes back up after then. So bear with me, thanks. But yeah, and it was really fun. It was kind of strange idea at the time. It was, like you said, it's a great idea for a game.
Yeah.
But you're used to sort of racing games and driving games, and just to try and kind of hit your marks and kind of meet the director's direction, I guess, was quite a transition, quite an adjustment. But yeah, when you manage to sort of nail it, it's so satisfying. I really enjoyed that game, so that was a lovely surprise, and yes, very much on my list.
Yeah, this one looks quite vehicle based, doesn't it? It's quite fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
No, that's cool. There's some other games which should also be awesome, but I've not played the previous game, so it's difficult. So there's a new Silent Hill Townfall, looks good as well. There's lots of static stuff, and you have a little device in your hand and lots of stuff. So that looked quite fun, but obviously I've not played the last Silent Hill yet, the one set in Japan, so that's still in my Christmas stash, so I've not even started yet, so there's no point looking forward to Townfall yet. Obviously Control Resonant is coming out, but I've not played the original Control yet, which I know is awesome, and this one looks awesome as well, but there's no point looking forward to another awesome game when I've already owned the original awesome game that I've not even played yet, so I can't get excited about that one. And then lots of other cool stuff. Guitar Man's in there, isn't it? A new God of War game, the Tomb Raider games. So many good things in there, it's just too much, so it's blowing my tiny mind.
Yeah, quite a lot that's coming to all platforms. So that was good at some point, either immediately after delay. So if you're owner of one of the other systems, you probably will be able to get to play some of these. Maybe not or certainly not the first person stuff like Wolverine or God of War. Guitar Man, weirdly, is my other game that I picked out from this. It's coming to PlayStation Plus Classics in June. So very excited. Did we play this, James, when we lived together? Was it you, or was it? I think it might have been John.
I owned it.
Ah, did you play it?
I found it in my collection a while ago, so I must have done.
How weird. Well, possibly we we played it, but I think I played it with John in our flat. But maybe I brought it with me, and you did. Did you buy the PlayStation off me?
I bought one of the things off you, didn't I?
Yeah, you bought something off me. Anyway, love this game. It's ridiculous, and it's a sort of rhythm game where you are playing as a Guitar Man. I think he's trying to somehow save the world through playing the guitar, the classic setup for these things. I just remember it goes from like trying to sort of romance your girlfriend like a lakeside with some frogs to like these epic action sequences where you're trying to sort of more sort of fast-paced music, trying to kind of fight off enemies and stuff. It's absolutely bonkers. I love it. I remember it so fondly. I really hope it stands up when we play it again. I will definitely be playing this, so I'll report back, and hopefully it won't crush my dreams or memories.
Did look very cool. There's also a horror game called Ill, which looks very disturbing. Proper gory horror with dismemberment and blood and guts everywhere. So that looked interesting. And he seemed to be locked in a cage at one stage, so I'm not sure the basis behind that. It looks very disturbing. And then a game called Bancho the Chef, which is a kind of spin-off from Dave the Diver. So that was also in there as well, and that looked quite interesting. So Bancho the Chef is set 15 years in the past, I think, and he goes around the world developing new cuisines from experts in the field in different countries. And that looks quite fun as well. But that's meant to make really good use of Giles' favourite PlayStation controller, the DualSense. So like when you're washing dishes, it's meant to, through the haptic feedback, you're meant to feel like you're washing a dish, and when you're cutting stuff up, you're meant to be able to feel it. So that sounds really fun.
Nice. Did you play the first? Did you play Dave the Diver? I can't remember.
I played it for a little bit, but then moved off it. I played it for about 3 or 4 hours, like everything else, and then moved off it to something. It was good fun, but this one, that was very much limited to one little sushi restaurant, wasn't it? Whereas this one, you're playing all over the world in lots of different places, so that sounds a bit more expansive, maybe.
That'll be fun. Yes, looking forward to that. The only other thing I thought to call out, there were loads of good things. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Ace Combat 8, having enjoyed number 7.
Yeah.
Wings of Thief, but not spelt like that, so
no.
Continuing the slightly bonkers titles. And Until Dawn 2. I actually only played the original Until Dawn. I think that was in the subscription fairly recently, and I thought it was really, really good, stupid fun.
Yes.
But Until Dawn 2, before they announced what it was, I was like, this is like Until Dawn meets Far Cry 3, because it was on a tropical island or something. I've seen other people say Until Dawn meets Love Island, which is also very fair. But of course, when the title came up, it was Until Dawn 2, and I think they've come up with a very intriguing setup. Enjoyed the first game. You played the first one, didn't you?
Yeah, I love the first game. It's probably the best of those kind of choose your ending and see how many people die classics. But I think this one's got a way away as the announcement trailer when it's, I think that's 2027, I think. Yeah. 27. I think God of War Looe is not dated yet, but probably 27. And then I think they've avoided doing anything too far out. Big question is, where is Intergalactic, which is the Naughty Dog next Naughty Dog game? Suspicion is that God of War is maybe an earlier 27 game than they're letting on, and maybe Intergalactic will be back end. But considering I've been catching up through PlayStation Plus for the big PlayStation games, it won't be hitting. None of these will be hitting PlayStation Plus for ages, and I don't tend to spend real money apart from through presents. Christmas.
So maybe. Maybe Wolverine might go on the list, but otherwise these are all a way off for me. Anything else, James, before we move on?
No, just coming back to your Ace Combat 8, they did look good. Graphically, it looked miles better than all the other Ace Combats. But some of the things are quite similar. There was still a big tower in the middle, like in Ace Combat 7. There was still a massive aircraft that looked identical to the massive aircraft in Ace Combat 7. But it looked graphically a massive step forward. So looking forward to that, because I really enjoyed Ace Combat 7 once I got good, which I did in the end, and completed it. Thank you,
Yeah, listeners will remember, and I didn't get good, and it was fine. Right. In terms of editions for the past or future month, coming month, I should say, PlayStation Plus edition, essential editions were announced. Grounded, fully yoked edition. Does Joshua plays Grounded, doesn't
he? He did play Grounded when it came out. He got a bit bored of it, but I don't know why. I thought it was quite cool.
there you go. If you haven't, then give it a try. It's on. It was on Game Pass, wasn't it? Because it was a Microsoft game, so that's now on PlayStation Plus Essentials for June. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Brawlers are always quite fun for a quick dive into. And Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. Don't know about you, James. I played some Warhammer back in the day, but haven't really played any of the games.
No.
Since Dawn of War, was it? The strategy games. They were quite fun.
Yeah, but I don't think I'll be playing any of those 3 games, so not particularly thrilling month for me. But I've still got to play EA FC 20, whatever year we're in. So that's still from last month, which I haven't got around to playing yet. So I'm not too worried about missing these 3.
No, and Game Pass is also quite light. That might change when the showcase happens in a couple of days after this goes live. But lots of stuff being added to Game Pass, but nothing really to stand out. Although Jurassic World Evolution 3 sounds like your sort of thing. You like dinosaurs and simulations, right?
Yeah, we've already got that one. Josh has already finished that one, but I've not started it yet. So yeah, that would have been good. And also he loves Astroneer. And there's a new version of Astroneer Starseeker, Astroneer Expedition coming out soon. So I've told him about that one. He's very excited for that one. So yeah, there's some stuff, but again, nothing is making me rip my skin off with excitement.
Which is a good thing,
yes.
I think, probably.
Definite bonus.
I see this month as an opportunity to finally play Astrobot, or possibly Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Those are the 2 on my backlog that I really keep meaning to start.
Yeah.
But a small confession, I did get too tempted and ended up using my 3 points to buy 007 First Light. I resisted for a couple of weeks and then I saw all the reviews, thought it looked amazing, and there was a promotion where you get some credit back as well. So I thought I'd dive in. Exactly, week. But I have actually played the first few missions, or the first mission, and it is amazing. So I may just carry on with that, which wasn't the intention. I was merely trying to hit the limit of play that you needed to do to get the free credit, and then park it and play it in the autumn.
I promised myself I will play one of my big games that I need to start playing. It's probably going to be the Mafia Old Country, because that's the shortest one of the Christmas ones, so that should be really good. I've played nothing at all yet on my PlayStation Pro. I've not even downloaded anything onto it since I bought it, so I need to take advantage of it. So EAFC 26 to pass some time, and Mafia the Old Country. The only other game that is coming out on PlayStation Plus, not a monthly game, but just an addition, there's a game called Broken Sword Shadow of the Templars Reforged.
Yes.
That's a 2002 point-and-click game. And all the reviews say it's the best ever point-and-click game that wasn't made by LucasArts, who made Monkey Island and all that kind of jazz. So again, the reviews on Steam are like 94 or 95% for this remastered version. So that might be something me and Sarah could play together, because it looks quite chill, quite puzzly, quite adventurous, so that might be quite fun. And it's now for free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, and you've reminded me, we were playing Monkey Island, me and Hannah were playing, and she had played it more than I had before, so she was showing me around. So maybe we should pick that up again. We got a bit stuck and sort of, need to pick it up again. Okay,
I nearly got back into that the other day. I saw it on my list of games that I used to play for 8 hours and never finished. So yes, also need to get back into it. Carry on, sorry.
Listeners, you need to hold our feet to the fire. I'm gonna start either Astro or Star Wars Jedi Survivor. James is gonna start Mafia the Old Country. You heard it here first. Remind us next month.
Or Silent
Make
Hill.
it so.
One of those.
Or Silent Hill. Well, whatever we do get to, that's the show. Please remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. Please don't be shy. Give us those 5-star reviews. It helps us get up those rankings, get eyeballs on us, and then it's all down to us where it all goes downhill, possibly. Who knows? Come over to our interact with us on social platforms. We're at Aches and Games, most things, including our Facebook page, or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson. Giles went west on most things. If you're going to be playing Forza Horizon 6, please do let us know what you think. James, it sounds like me, you, and Joshua could maybe give our thoughts next month.
Yes.
But how about you, James? Anything to wrap us up?
No, I think I'm going to spend the time over playing Aging Podcaster Simulator or something similar, and whatever I find on Steam tomorrow for £4, I'll be playing that for 50 hours. But hopefully squeezing in Mafia the Old Country as well, as Giles mentioned, and maybe finishing off the Prison Prospect, and maybe some other things. Who knows? Anyway, James Boy 1978 on PlayStation Network. Please hit me up if you want to find that I've not logged onto my PlayStation Plus since I bought it. And yes, check out the Facebook page as always. Check out our website with some reviews and all that jazz. Have a look on TikTok, and Giles will upload all the clips and snippets and the entire footage from tonight's podcast and all the other podcasts on YouTube. Just search for Aches and Games. Thank you.
Excellent. See you next month, first Friday of the month. Take care, guys. Bye.
Cheers.